What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. This is episode, I always forget what episode. This is either number 7 or 8 of SW and I's weekly show. So obviously I'm joined by SW as usual, but if you're blind, you may not know, but we have a third square here today. We're joined by Ruby Spacek. We'll get into a little bit more of some history here and why Ruby's here. It's not just we talk to a random person and we're like jump on the show. There's definitely a thing going on here. So yeah, Ruby.
Definitely an interesting backstory of like how we met. And I personally, I come from like a more leftist space, and on my channel I talk about all kinds of stuff. I talk about my recovery from being like in addiction, and then I was also doing OnlyFans, and we actually met because I used to debate like for that. I felt very defensive like of models around that
Very
time period. So
sex positive. Well, that was
I
your
yeah, I was it's funny because it's like, I don't ever try to be like negative or judging anyone who's on that path, because it's generally a complicated situation, but I just realized so crystal clear how bad the outcomes are for almost everyone in the industry and just for the clientele. Once I had my like kind of religious awakening, like I just couldn't do it. Like it
yeah.
felt so different. Yeah.
Did
It's
you want to?
probably weird seeing the Instagram models who like really shill it and try and glamorize the lifestyle now.
Yeah, we're in the kind of like dystopian end times. I don't know if I'm being alarmist, but like
No, no, no.
Not too
it
far
seems
off.
like we're loneliness and like the just disintegration of the relationship between the sexes and anything healthy and normal has just been like on the decline for so long, and I feel like it's just gonna keep getting like escalated with like AI. And think about AI porn and all these different fucking
Absolutely.
new ways they're gonna hack people for Satan, and it's just
Yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of what SW and I talk about a lot. Like you're already hitting some of the themes that we talk about in regards to gender relations today. That's a big topic on our show. We talk about race, gender, current events, not as much foreign policy. I leave that to people like Fuentes who actually know what they're talking about and can go uninterrupted for 2 hours about the Iran deal. That's not my wheelhouse. I agree with them. It's just not my wheelhouse. So yeah, we talk about a lot of society stuff here. But before we get started, do you want to A, let people know where to find you, and B, I guess the best way to start would be if you want to don't go into where you were yet, because I think that can we can jump into the YouTube thing. So if you want to let people know where to find you now and kind of where your ideology is right now in 2025.
So right now, people can find me on YouTube. It's Ruby Spacek, same on X, and I have a Discord, and then I also have a weekly show. It's on hiatus right now called LOL Angels with my friend Lo, where we cover kind of just like internet commentary, typical stuff, but keeping it with a very like Jesus centric and like spiritual basis, and also kind of like an open minded like we wanted to reform like trolls. That was kind of like our goal, but anyway, yes, you can find me there. And what was the second part of the question?
Um,
Oh, my ideology.
yeah, your
I would
current
say
ideology.
very kind of like enlightened centrist, very I'm much more like I'm off the trans train. Like I wouldn't say like I have a lot of sympathy to anyone struggling, but like uh, you know, I I believe in the rights of, women and like, protection of women's prisons where like you are now at risk of getting pregnant and all this.
Oh, well,
I
yeah,
just saw the real
okay.
life
But that's
outcomes of
one of the
these.
darkest. That's one of the darkest aspects of that whole issue. That pretty
Yeah.
much gets swept right under the rug.
What's that, SW?
Yeah.
What?
Where
The
they're like, it's rare. And it's like,
inmates who
yeah,
go
it's rare
trans just to
now.
go to a women's prison.
Oh, yeah. Well, oh, okay. Well, yeah, from that ink. Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I would agree that yeah, you shouldn't be yeah, I agree with you there. I thought you guys meant something else. Yeah, absolutely. That
But
shouldn't be allowed.
I was like hyper fixated probably on like the gender stuff for a while. And I kind of like bounced between topics. But lately I've just been in a really open-minded space, just talking to anyone about anything. And I'm very forthcoming about my journey because I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of how far I've come in like a fairly short period of time. Even just coming back to YouTube, I was still on like a high dose of methadone, and I've gone down like a lot on that. And, I was still 50 pounds overweight and I lost the weight. And it's been just a huge, like, physical, spiritual, and intellectual journey that I just am very much still on. But I just feel like I love people. I love talking to people. I have so much more respect for other beliefs now than I used to, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to
Yeah,
hear it.
that's where I'm at.
So really quickly, I'll give the brief rundown of the background with Ruby and JB here. So in 2021, when I was first on YouTube, I started my YouTube channel in April of 2021. All the videos are still up, so anybody listening to this can kind of see. I think I even look more healthy at this point, honestly, but we'll see that in the videos. But in 2021, I had just started my YouTube channel, and I actually found Ruby because you did an interview with Jesse Lee Peterson. You were on it. You were on like not just like an online debate. You were like in the chair talking to Ruby or talking to JLP. I forgot
Yeah.
what you guys talked about, but really you were kind of the first. Kind of like my, and I'm not saying this in I'm saying I'm a lower than a micro E celeb at this point. Like,
Oh no,
at
yeah,
this
I
point, I'm
identify
not.
as like a Z list, if any,
Yeah, yeah,
but
exactly. So
that
you were
was a
like the
pure
first
luck chance, honestly, the way that worked out. The kill stream, I
kill
happened to have
stream. Yeah, yeah.
known those people, and I'd called into flamenco stream, and I just was dipping my toes into talking to anyone online, like in those spaces, and then it just so happened that they had Jesse Lee Peterson booked in, another like woman on the left who would like bounced. I was fresh on their minds, and they asked me. And even though I had like such different politics, I always had a soft spot and thought he was so funny. Like, that, I just enjoyed the experience, and and it helped me. It got my foot in the door on YouTube, and then I fumbled that by relapsing and disappearing for years.
That's
But we're building it back, baby, stronger than ever.
absolutely,
Nice.
So
absolutely. I have a lot of respect for that. If anybody, I guess we can make this a little bit more open. I'll be a little bit more honest about myself because you are. Um, Anybody who knows my general trajectory on the right knows that I had a very hardcore alcohol problem for a long time. It really came to a head in 2022 or so. I had some very bad moments online that I'm not proud of to this day. Um, and I mean, this isn't like an apology to people I've wronged stream, but it is just factual. I had a big drinking problem.
well,
Um,
yeah, and I relate to having those embarrassing like online
yeah,
moments.
there's
I
a
had like a psychotic break online, so it's like I get it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
also, that's your story, and you can grow from that, and you can show people shit happens. You can have these low points, and then you can come back so much stronger and just like own it and be like, yes, that was me. Most people have these moments or
Yeah,
something like it.
exactly. And I think you're a good um, avatar of this. I saw like we were talking about before the show. I saw the crucifix behind you. Absolutely beautiful. Love to see it. If you can't tell behind me, I've definitely
I,
um, really jumped back into my Catholic faith, and my daughter is in the other room with her mom right now eating. So.
I'm so happy for that. It's
Um,
beautiful.
but yeah, so in 2021, I had my channel, and I saw you on JLP. We did a debate. It doesn't never got a ton of views, but it was kind of my launching into the right wing and doing content. So, if we want to talk really quickly about kind of how views have changed, and we have like a concrete starting point, if you want, we can take a look at the old debate. This will be
Yeah.
anybody who's still
What year
follow.
is it from again?
This is 2021. This
For
was this
Okay.
was
yeah.
May 2021. So this was a full almost exactly four
Wow.
years ago. Um, I
Wow.
I look a little different. I don't think I look as healthy in this, um, which I was not living a healthy life. But yeah, this was like the first debate I ever did. So um, I think this will segue nicely into kind of other things we want to talk about. And Ruby, you let us know when you need to go. Um,
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I just like I did this stream earlier that ended up being so much more emotionally taxing than I thought, because I was like arguing with these like kind of horror cow lol cow esque figures, and I don't know, it just got out of hand.
gotcha. Hey,
And
no,
I was just like, I'm gonna pass out. Like,
yeah, I have kind of a hard stop at around in about 40 minutes. So even if it goes before then, that's fine. But there's some good
oh
stuff
yeah,
to
no,
look.
I can.
You got
No,
the Texas flag in the background.
Yeah, dude, I was working with all kinds of different. I mean, I'm still sitting on a couch, obviously, but I'm gonna
And there's Glink too. I actually talked to him
Glink, yeah.
recently. We came full circle, dude. We should actually, that would be so fun if we could all do another stream, you
Yeah, we
know.
could all do one. I didn't even know he was still around. So,
Yeah,
um,
he left and is like coming back. Can we please save the internet, man? Like, let's come back. Okay, we're gonna spread the good word. We need to fight the AI. It is the tool of the Antichrist.
I
Like,
want to
we need to
talk.
get
I
on
do want to
this.
talk to you about that. Let's do this first, but I want to talk about the AI thing and about the impacts of that on gender, and gender relations. But so this one was you. This I think this is a good starting point. This was your general belief system back then. It was about it really centered around sex work and porn. Um,
Hmm.
and no offense to you in the title of the old debate, I said degenerates argue for
I
continue.
self-described that way.
You
I've always
did.
self-described that. Never really. I have been online. I know the terms that people click. So I'm more than happy to play into those. And at best, it keeps their expectations low, so I can pleasantly surprise. It's
Yeah,
like a
that's
tactic.
true. That's true. Smart. It's a very chameleon tactic there.
Indeed.
Yeah, so let's just jump in. I have three timestamps that I wanted to jump into, and each of these can go wherever we want to take them. So, anyone, if you can't hear me, if you can't hear the sound, just let me know, but it should be good.
A website on their computer and they see grown-ups doing things, they're going to try and emulate them.
And for the record, Charles was on my side. Glink was the moderator, and it was Ruby and Alf against me and Charles, and Glink was the moderator. So anyway, here we go.
Website on their computer and they see grown-ups doing things, they're going to try and emulate those things.
I don't see why Ruby you see a disconnect between normalization of sex work and pornography and a younger and younger age of having sex. Like if Charles's point is that the younger you have sex, and Charles, this isn't against you, I'm just saying that like statistically speaking, the younger you have sex for the first time, it becomes more problematic in terms of how you, the rate at which you contract STDs, your pair bonding abilities, the likelihood of you getting divorced down the road. If you are promoting a society that normalizes these things, I don't know why you would be surprised with the results. Do you see what I mean? Like if we were to just drape.
I definitely agree with you more so now. And like,
Yeah,
certain
so
things were not, I did not believe in, was anti-spirituality. So that was never a thing. I was just like, sex is a biological function and they're moralizing a biological function. So the ways that things connect, if you're having like a full spiritual experience and not like a kind of stunted experience I was having, like it just wouldn't get through until I literally like just had my own, kind of religious awakening, and it changed my perspective and everything. So
right. So is that one that you would say that you've kind of come around more to the right on now? Wait, like that's one of those where you would more be sympathetic to my point of view back then now?
yeah, absolutely. Because at the time I felt like, people were really targeting like, women online who were doing sex work and like, doxing them and doing these things. So I felt defensive of it, and I felt like this obligation to protect them. And I wasn't looking at it in the ways that it was going to get not only just like normalized, like the way that the extent of the normalization and the like havoc it's put on the sexes, like and like reproduction rates, everything is going down.
Exactly.
Social skills, like it's been the like 1-2 punch of like so many fucking things, and then the pandemic, and it's just like, and then the internet. It's just, I don't know. I don't know
When
how people are going to
doing
get out of this mess.
when doing so just kind of look, because when you told me we're interviewing you, I ended up looking at your tweet. You actually, on this topic, you had a really good topic about the loneliness epidemic, where
Mm.
pretty much you said something like women handle it different than men. I really like the take that you had. That I can pull it up, but you remember
I
what
was
I'm
thinking, I
talking
recall
about.
I was saying that women tend to have these like kind of more intricate and almost pseudo romantic relationships with each other.
That are
And
almost
these like,
sexual,
it's
that you
more,
said,
yeah,
that it's
that,
like
yeah, it's like,
in a
it's
weird
basically
way.
something that men don't have an equivalent of. Because someone was like, the male loneliness epidemic is because men are dicks, which is literally the most 1-year-old perception take ever.
Well, and this
So I was
reminds
just
me of an
trying to bring like a
interesting
balance.
point that me and Jordan talked about. I think a couple weeks ago, we were just joking. we were just kind of riffing towards the end of a stream, and we were saying how a lot of times guys tend to lose their friends, and you kind of see them turn really weird in where they almost adopt the personality of their spouse. And but it's
Yo,
interesting
I
because it's
have
like,
seen that. Yeah. Yo,
yeah,
I
where
have
it's like
seen
almost
that.
in like a weird feminine way, but with all those situations, and this goes to your point that married or single women in a lot of ways are better at maintaining the social friendships as they keep going on. And I think that's an interesting, but like I like your point that it's kind of masked and hidden kind of with busybody kind of activities and kind of group things.
So I have it
But like
pulled
the
up on the
loneliness is
screen.
still there.
I was able to find the tweet you're talking about, I think. So somebody named Jenny McDonald says there is no loneliness male there is no male loneliness epidemic. It's just a bunch of white men who can't get laid because they are dickheads. And Ruby, this is I think the tweet we're talking about. You said
Yeah.
hard disagree. There is absolutely a male loneliness epidemic. There's a female loneliness epidemic too, but women tend to have much more substantial social relationships to fall back on, bordering on pseudo-romantic in ways that are
Yes,
less
not
socially
sexual, sorry.
acceptable. Yeah, more pseudo-romantic ways that are less socially acceptable for males to foster,
Because it would be
And
which
the
like
giving,
really
and you see how
funny if
women
like
hype each other online. It's a whole different way of
if they
interacting.
do that in real life too.
Yeah,
That's the
and I
thing. You
do that
see that
with like, I have that way of
it
being,
would
and it's
just be
just
bizarre. Like I'm just thinking about it from like my friend's standpoint. If I like called one of them and just started bitching him out, like you didn't go golfing with me 2 weeks ago, and it's
yeah, it's
like
like a
that would be
couple how
the
they fight.
weirdest.
It's at that
I would,
level.
yeah, but like one of my buddy's wife, one of her single friends, they'll get into like these weird spats over like the weirdest little almost. It's almost like a couple spat.
Yeah.
and the other
Yeah.
thing that I don't think you can ignore, and this may be the next phase of Ruby's evolution here. Let me just try to do my best. You can't ignore the fact that in that tweet that you were responding to, they talk about white men. There's a reason. There is a reason that they didn't say because they don't want to offend black people. They don't want to offend the other races. So it's easy to dunk, and I'm sure that that girl who said that is white also, which is
Oh yeah, it's always
another.
the like,
It's
it's
always
the
that.
self-flatulating white people, and it's so like, that was popular maybe more so during pandemic times. That was really
Yeah,
hitting. People ate that up. I see the tide turning, and thank
yeah,
God. It
absolutely.
does seem like, because people are just realizing like no matter which way you cut it, this whole hyper focus on race is probably bad either which way.
It's
And then
becoming
just
an
like,
eye
oh,
roll,
it's
and the
only
people
okay to
that
hate
keep
this one
up
group. Like that can always go wrong. That's so dumb.
it's almost becoming like an eye roll where the people who are just doing it for the minor social brownie points kind of let go and took their foot off the gas, and the people that have held on and the true believers just kind of annoy the shit out of everybody now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely what's going on. I just yeah, I just think it's funny that anytime you talk about the gender dynamics and how they're failing right now, women who are liberals, I'm not lumping you in this category because I think you're like a small L liberal. I'm
Yeah,
not.
I'm like
I'm
a
like
loose agent right now. I could go in. We
I
don't know
may
where it's gonna land, but
yeah,
it's definitely more moderate and definitely more appreciative of like tradition and what
it's
religion and
just
what gender roles bring to people. That people need roles. They like we're seeing how lost people are. Like they have convenience to themselves to death and like are just too blank slate, and have nothing to
right.
make
And
their
we keep
life out
getting
of.
yeah, we keep getting into blank slatism. I think SW and I are firmly against that idea. But yeah, it's just funny that the go-to dunk on is you're just a white lonely guy. It's like, well, I mean, there are plenty of I haven't thought about this too much. I don't really know how much the loneliness she might actually be right because
I wonder
I
because
think she
she might
is because
actually be right,
well,
actually.
think
Damn.
about it with like you and I
right.
like
Well, because
think
it's
about it
like
with
peaks
black
with
people that
Asian
with
and
black dudes
Asian
that we
culture,
know.
kind of.
Well, because the higher IQ you are, the more you struggle with things like loneliness, depression. It's the
Neurotic.
I've
Well,
wondered
like for
this
better
about
or worse, there is a lot more community amongst
amongst
Black
minority.
America.
Right,
true, and more
because you
church
can.
involvement and
I
like,
wouldn't even say that. I think that you can always lean on the fact that he's my brother. This is my brother. But it's like, is there anything that's allowed in that space? And I was debating this with Bryson Gray a few years ago. If two white people who saw each other on the street went, "Hello, my white brother," it
It would be
that would
weird.
that wouldn't even it
pandemonium.
would almost be like a hate crime. Like there would be news stories about it. But two black people do it, and it's like, oh, that's just how they are. It's like maybe that woman is right. There is a white male loneliness epidemic. What I'm saying is that she's not saying it in a prescriptive way. She's saying it in a
Mhm.
pejorative way. She's not saying, well,
Oh,
let's
100%.
help
It's
the
an
white
insult.
guys.
It's
It's
supposed
an
to be
insult.
like,
It's an insult.
you're
Exactly.
this rich, privileged, white, hetero, cis. Like, these aren't usually used as like, with positive connotation. Like in most
Absolutely.
scenarios, it has like a negative.
Absolutely. So yeah, let me jump on to number two. And this is a big one. It sounds like Ruby, you have uh not come a long way on, but have maybe changed your thinking a little bit.
I feel like I did a U-turn in a lot of ways. I mean,
It
I've always
sounds
had my
like it.
core interests, and things that I find interesting to discuss, but I just feel like once I had my spiritual awakening, I just really shifted a lot. And it's taken me a long time to like come to terms with that, and to
Yeah,
like come out to my friends as like, with some different views. And a lot of them are feeling the same way, honestly. So it's like, it's actually been very
Well,
inspiring.
that's actually really good because I remember when my views started to change around like 2015, 16. There was a lot of hostility.
Mm.
yeah, it's
A
not the
Oh,
lot, a
same
really?
lot of
anymore.
hostility.
It's not the same anymore, and it does make me a little not to break myself, break my shoulder patting myself on the back, but like a lot of these people, SW, I would probably even put you in this because we've been following each other for a while on Twitter. This Twitter show is like a new birth of like our friendship. We've been following each other. I think even when I had my old Twitter account before it got banned. But we've been in this milieu for a while. This like,
Yeah.
hey, it's not okay to shit on white people, actually. Like
I
it's getting
know.
old and there's gonna be a reaction to it. And
And
unless
what do
you're
you know?
ready for yeah, and here we are. So
Well, what's
um
And
really
here we are.
funny that I noticed, at least with amongst my personal friends, it was the Trustafarians, like way upper middle class ones, LARP, who they'd like to LARP as kind of working class. They were like the true believers, the most hostile, where more just regular middle class and lower level upper class were all a lot chiller. So there is a weird money divide
there is
or class divide
there
kind of
is a
on
Yeah.
there
politics.
is a partial class thing here. And I remember Ruby, I was looking for clips in this interview, and I think at one point you blamed the expansion of sex work on capitalism, and we can get into that later. But you did say, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Well,
it's
I mean,
not,
I'm not gonna be too disappointed in myself preemptively until
no,
I hear the full quote. But
that
already,
one's not,
I'm scared.
that
I'm
one's not
scared.
that one's not, yeah, that one's not in my clip. I just saw that, but that one's not the craziest one, but I just disagree with it. But this one is an interesting one, an
Yeah, I mean, I
interesting
don't
clip.
even know what my real critique would even be in that, except capitalism bad, sex work great. It's like,
Exactly, exactly. But
yeah.
here's an interesting one from that. Oh my, I look so slovenly. Oh my God, like, dude, I'm
I
so
feel like I
glad
looked better because I like
you,
fell off and did drugs for like 3 years, and like at least I like lost weight, so I'm getting back to that point. But I was like
yeah,
fairly
but
healthy at this point, but I was mentally, sicker
God,
than ever.
my mustache wasn't trimmed. I got hair all over the place. I'm God,
We
terrible.
grew up, or at least in like our spirits, we're leveling up,
Absolutely.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and we're gonna take over YouTube. So watch
I
out.
think, yeah, I wouldn't surprise me. All right, so we got this clip.
It's not even about that. It's about these
Well,
are not. I'm not arguing them on a religious level. You just said in response to Glink, are you religious? It's not even about that. It's
But
about the societal impacts of the ideas that you're saying should be espoused, should be accepted, should be normalized. What we're saying is these will have a very clear and obvious negative impact that is currently happening, that we clearly see with the destruction of the nuclear family. And you're sitting there saying, no, if we just normalize it a little more, then everything will be fine. And we're saying we value the nuclear family over freedom. Yeah.
That's kind of
If
a
that
straw
means,
man,
jumping all
though.
over the
She's-
place. You're
that's
jumping
not-
all
hold
over.
on.
That's basically what I
Let's-
believe, though. It's like, yeah, I did.
Is that where you, is that what I just said there? Is that where you are now, basically?
No,
Oh,
but like,
okay,
yeah,
okay,
I like
okay,
at the
fair
time,
enough.
that you were, that was kind of like what my viewpoint was at the time. Is I thought that a lot of these issues, and I was like almost like overly sympathetic to sex workers, and like most are in like kind of horrific situations or pimped out or like on the street. It's always a sad story. So I felt like, oh, if they are destigmatized and like normalized, they'll have a way to reintegrate into society. And there was like this sense to it, but
I think it
once
was
you
your
open up
female.
that can of like normalizing it,
I think it was your female,
like,
your
yeah.
female empathy kicking in. I think you
Yeah.
felt bad for the people themselves, and not that you're not. How do I put it? It's not like you're like a dumb person and just can't see the societal impacts. I think you were just really focused on like
Mhm.
these people have sad, but not pathetic, but
Which is a
sad, like ugly
legitimate
lives.
aspect of it all.
Absolutely.
It's very similar to discussions about homelessness, where
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
people. Yeah, of course, you're gonna feel bad for the people in the situation, but
But a lot of homeless people are fucking assholes too.
well,
Like,
Exactly.
that's the thing. It's like
it's
one
just
of those
like
things
it's
where
a
you feel
morally
bad for the
complex thing.
situation,
Sucks.
but if you dig deeper and kind of look at it, then you kind of realize like, oh, there's more to the story, and maybe they are, like you said, maybe they are just assholes. And I always joke that like, or it's like how people always say like, they're just like us. Everyone's just one missed paycheck away from being homeless. It's
That's
like,
just
well,
not true.
I
That's just,
mean,
I
that means
mean,
it means you've pissed off every single person in your life
and
that.
SW, you're the one that kind of red pilled me a little bit on homelessness. It's something that I should have already known. But like your tweet a long time ago about like these homeless people in these videos you're seeing, they are a representation of somebody who has ruined every single, not most, not some, every single personal
Every possible
relationship.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Almost
exactly.
always
Not
through drugs.
every
Through
possible
drugs.
one.
Yes.
Exactly. Every possible
It's
one.
mental illness and drugs. So I don't want to like paint with too broad of a brush, but like
Well,
it really is. It's they want money for drugs. And I say as a drug user, if I wanted to buy drugs and learn where the drugs were, I would find a homeless person. It's not,
exactly. Well, and
and
it's
it was
just
like always.
it's kind of like with the whole Jordan Neely thing, where all of a sudden family members are yelling, they're mad, but then you think about it, it's like they didn't even care about
Ruby,
him.
do you know who Jordan Neely is?
No.
Jordan Neely was the homeless black guy on the subway who got choked out by Daniel Penny. And he was a homeless.
Okay.
What SW
Yeah.
was saying, he's a homeless dancer. Meanwhile, after he gets
They will like
killed and is
misrepresent
homeless,
so much. It's so annoying.
and it's like his family now wants not now, but a few months ago or whatever, wanted multi-million-dollar settlements and said that was our baby. And it's like, why didn't you let him live in your house? Why was he sleeping on the subway? Because he was clearly like, I don't mean he was a
An active
parasite,
youth.
but he was a societal parasite. Like
100%.
he ruined all of his relationships. What do you want me to do about that?
And like that could be me right now if I got fired and I could have doubled down and just kept being an addict until I lost everything. But instead I said, I absolutely that's a non-option,
Yeah,
this has gone on far enough for
I
long
think
enough.
my opinion, and you may, and I think SW would agree with this, but you may disagree. I think that's where IQ kicks in. IQ, I'm starting to realize that IQ is kind of like something like the ability to hit the override button and be like, hold on. What's happening to my life right now? I need to do this to change this. When you're low IQ, you just kind of go with it. You're just like, well, or it's like you hear with black people, and
It's not thinking any steps ahead.
no steps ahead.
It's
And
like,
and that's
or
half the
just even
country
when your
under
back's against the
100
wall.
IQ. 25% of the country under like 85%. Like the numbers
absolutely.
are going down too. I'm also like weirdly obsessed with IQ, and it like freaks out my friends who are like, oh, you're like, they'll like jump to all these moral conclusions about it. It's like the fact is, our society, more than ever, the way it's moving, values people who have this IQ, this metric that is conducive with doing well in society and like most other things.
Mhm.
We just know that to be true. It's quantifiable over and over more than anything else. It just makes people squeamish because they feel reduced to a number. And that's never all you can be or give in the
That
world,
is
you know?
100% true. And I think
Yeah.
Christianity actually helps you. A lot of pagans will cringe at this, what I'm about to say, but I think Christianity helps you square, or we'll just say religion. But actually, no, I would say Christianity because it's universal. Um, Christianity helps you square that circle because nobody's saying somebody below 85 IQ can't go to heaven. I'm not saying you
Mhm.
can't be saved. I'm just saying that it's going to be more difficult for you to be a productive member of society, and it may impact your ability to behave morally. But that
Then you
doesn't
add
change.
trauma, bad conditions,
Sure,
and all this other stuff
sure,
with that.
but that
It's
doesn't change God's grace. You know what I mean?
exactly,
Like in
yeah.
the set, like if you're 82 IQ, God is going to expect less of you than if you are 120 IQ and you know when you're screwing somebody over. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to an 82
Yep.
100.
IQ person, I think, and I don't know, God, I'm not a spiritual expert here, but I have the feeling that God may give a little leeway to the person, like, hey, they were born mentally deficient,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they didn't have to, but maybe they felt like they had to rob because they felt like that. But the thing is, people will take that and they'll say, so what are you saying? They shouldn't go to jail? No, I'm saying they need to suffer here on earth and they figure
Mm-hmm.
that out in the afterlife. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the
That's
thing
all
is,
stuff that
they're
God
also
figures
not
out.
going to learn the lesson if you don't punish them.
Right,
And it's
right.
like we're seeing now
Yeah.
when you don't punish real, and I'm mainly just talking about really violent criminal behavior. When
Hmm.
you don't punish it, it becomes just accepted that, oh, in the low IQ mind, that means they think I can get away with it. If that's
Yep.
Exactly.
or the one thing they might even be just a little bit smart on. It's like me and you. It's like me and Jordan talked about with shoplifters. I think I sent him a video a while back, and they're citing the municipal law while getting arrested. And it's like,
Bro. Yeah,
They have the IQ to
dude,
cite law. Like,
dude, it's a whole I've noticed, I live in a very liberal city at Yale by Yale in New Haven, Connecticut, and it's just like some of the laws and like especially around like shoplifting. Shoplifting is like just legal. Like the Walgreens all around me, they're shutting down, even toilet paper, every little thing is locked up. It's like it's so
yeah,
obvious like
we
this
see how
this
that's
negative
working out.
impact,
We
it's
see
not
how
a
that's
victim,
working
it's
out with Hartford, Connecticut. That used to be a very nice, livable city. Hartford is a hellhole. Not, you would know
Hartford's
better than I
ass.
do.
I don't
I've
like
heard that
Hartford, so I'm
I've
with
heard
you.
Hartford is a hellhole now, and
It
I have.
sucks.
It
It
does,
sucks.
but doesn't that just kind of prove the ability for law to create morality in a way? Because if the law says, right, if the law starts cracking down on shoplifting and says, no more, if you do this, you're going to jail, what you're going to see is a lot of people are going to start behaving a whole hell of a lot more morally. You're going to see people
Yeah.
shoplifting less, and that increases their odds of going to heaven and having eternal life. So I
My
think,
life changed because I got fired, not because my boss gave me a million chances, because I got fired. That's when I
right.
was like, I need to change for the
And
better,
not even because you felt
Consequences are
bad,
needed.
not even because you felt bad about the actions in and of themselves. You needed to have an external force saying, like,
Hmm.
if you keep doing, and that was the same with me, without going into too much detail. I'll just say that my life was at a point that I was not comfortable with the amount of alcohol I was drinking. It was not in a
Hmm.
good place. And I needed that to happen in order for me to say, whoa, dude, you can be doing a lot better than this. This is ridiculous.
Yep.
So yeah, 100%. And then
and
the last, oh, sorry,
so
SW, go.
I was gonna say I had a very similar thing when I was in college. I just completely slacked off for a fall semester. I just failed every class. So then they gave me a second chance where I could only take a few classes. I got A's. Then the next fall semester I fucked up again badly. And they basically for the next 2 years, if I had failed any classes, I would have gotten kicked out of school. It was that bad. So for 2 years, I had that lingering over me where every time every time on a Sunday and I had an assignment due at midnight, I'd be like, it was like I can't just say no because the alternative is I'll have
Hmm.
gotten 2 years through school and then there is no alternative. They're kicking me out if I screw
Yeah,
up again.
that's
I
how
mean,
life works, and people need to
for
learn,
for
or you're fucked.
criminals, that's what probation is supposed to do. Probation is supposed to serve as this thing that's over your head and is like, okay, you're on probation for the next 5 years. If you commit any more crimes, you are going to jail for that original crime. It's just funny that the black criminologists love to say probation is a tool of the patriarchy, or not the white. I'm
The
mixing
white supremacist,
Mixing
the
it
white,
up.
whatever. I'm
system.
mixing it up here. That's a tool, and that's meant to. That's actually, and I've heard this before. Probation is a tool to keep them in jail, when in reality, it's supposed to be like a Damoclean sword over your head, where it's like, if I f
You
up
got a
again,
second chance. You
you got a
You're
better.
second.
yeah, yeah.
But they don't see it that way, and that ties back into if you're of a certain IQ, it gets a hell of a lot harder to be productive and stay out. But that's not God's problem. God deals with that afterward, in a
But
way.
there's so many people telling them too, like, and these people, they'll want to believe it. They'll say like, "Oh, it's not your fault. Oh, you were like this because of the big bad, white guy is making your life
Okay,
hard." And
right.
if people buy that, that's what they believe. And I always have mixed feelings on it's like what people choose about what they believe or how they respond to different information. It's like how much can they control that? And it's like I don't know, it's just beyond my comprehension.
It is a big one. There's one more clip I wanted to share, and then we can probably go into gender dynamics for maybe the last 20 minutes or so, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then we can probably wrap up. But yeah, let's just do this one really quick, and then we'll do one more, and then we can probably put a bookmark in it. Okay, here we go.
Can I respond to Charles? Can I respond to Charles?
I would like it if Al could respond to me.
Can I respond to Charles? You said there's
the values in our society. It's not objective. It's a nice thought that things would be objective. That would be nice, but just because you want something to be that
I am if you don't notice, I am seething at this statement. I am nodding my head no. I'm like, no, no,
Oh my God.
no.
I know. I was like going full venom. But I believe that so firmly too, though. And that's another thing that changes. I was a moral relativist, and I
Right.
didn't believe in
Well, hold on.
objective morality.
hold
And
on,
I
let
still,
let it keep
that's a
going
very
for one
recent
sec.
change for me.
Because we get into that. And this was when I was in peak Stefan Molyneux days, where I was like
Ah,
objective, and I'm still like this. It's just
like
Molyneux.
empiricists.
Yeah, and yeah,
I'm an
like
empiricist. Yeah, I started as guilty pleasures, and then I'm like, I agree with some of this, and I'm like, am I psychotic now? Like, what's wrong with me? Like,
Yeah, I was definitely coming at this from a Molyneux non-religious empiricist point of view. Now it's like, no, my values are informed by Christ. Like, it's simple. But
I will
anyway,
still say
sorry.
Molyneux's stuff is very underrated.
Oh,
And I
This
so
is
I
no
actually
topic. Yeah, he has like an interesting mind. He has an
He does.
interesting
He does.
way of
I made it
articulating.
through
He's very
to
articulate,
call in
on some
once.
things, and he's brave and ballsy. I don't get some of it. I don't like him telling, the defooing, weird, kind of more
I agree with
oddball stuff.
that a
I don't
little.
know.
We could maybe touch on. I don't want to go down the deep, but I do kind of agree with that actually. But SW, what were you saying? You called into a show?
I actually did call into it once, and
Wow.
it was, but it was I got such bad stage fright, or not. It wasn't horrible, so I think I asked a question. It was about gender dynamics in teachers and why are schools the longhouse, but not in that word. And he gave such a good answer just right off the bat that I was like
You're like, what else do
completely
He's like,
blindsided.
Oh,
And he goes,
it's
"Can
one
I
of
answer
those-
the question?" I'm expecting it to be like some of these other
yeah,
videos I'd watched
where it's going to be
gonna
2
like
hours.
where it's gonna.
and
And
then
I
you're
was
like,
like,
Like
yeah,
you-
that's about right.
go
And he
on.
like clapped his hands. He goes, "Oh, wonderful. Well,
You
that was
go
awesome.
on.
A nice quick one."
You
And I
go
was
on, and
like,
you're like, why are schools longhouse? And he's like, well, it's because of the propensity for female evil and vanity. That's why. And you're like,
it was.
oh man,
I need to find it because it
Dude,
was
I would
literally like he like caught me off guard that I was like, yeah, that answers the question. He goes, "Oh, wonderful. That was a
Wonderful.
nice short quick one. I got it in one my first chance."
Dude, he's such
And
and
then
he's such a
afterwards, I was just like, "Oh my god!" I thought it was going to be like a 2 hour.
yeah.
Like I would have this YouTube clip saved for the rest of my life.
I would love for you to find that. Well, let's keep going really quickly on the clip because and then we'll jump into dating and then we can wrap up.
We
Can I respond to Charles? You
create
said there's
the values. It's not objective. It's a nice thought that things would be objective.
I'm
That
seething
would
here.
be nice, but just because you want it doesn't make it true.
I was
Hold
like
on,
so
wait a
pompous
second,
in my like
right
ranking
there,
too. I really
right there.
believed it.
You agreed earlier.
Oh
world
my
we
God.
live in-
I'm cringing so hard because
I'm cringing at myself. This is
I'm cringing
we're
harder,
I'm like,
man.
oh my God.
I'm
But listen,
getting
we've both
mad.
like grown a lot, and like honestly,
Yeah,
we weren't
yeah.
that like we're just probably like hypercritical of ourselves. So it's like
No, I'm
you know.
cringing because I was drinking a lot of alcohol and I was doing hand movements and I was gyrating and I can't sit
Dude,
still.
I
Like
do that all the time.
it's
No
so
alcohol needed
bad.
for I'm just
I know, but I'm so
can't help
cringing.
myself.
Is shaped by us. So whether or not the belief is everything, okay? If you believe there are objective things, then you will act in such a way that there are objective
That's a
things.
good
So
point.
you're saying it's a nice idea that things are objective. Okay, that is in itself enough. If it's a nicer idea that things are objective
Then
versus
shouldn't we
subjective,
strive towards
all
that?
you need is the power of belief in order to create the world where things are objective.
Shouldn't we just strive to?
You
Shouldn't
can't
we just
believe something into
look,
being
look,
objective.
look? If the Link is right. Here's the thing: if your whole worldview is it would be great if everything was objective, then why not institute that policy? Why not make it
Yes,
objective?
you shape the world you live in.
Why not shape it?
All right, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
look at my face. I'm like, what?
You're like, what? I'll let it. We can probably let that clip breathe. But I think, and I'm not the biggest fan of his anymore. But Jordan Peterson was kind of one of the first people that put that idea in my head. Where somebody asked him if he thinks God is real, and this is not modern Jordan Peterson where he's weeping on camera and all that. But this was a few years ago.
I have a soft spot for Jordan Peterson. Like I
here
said,
we
I've gone
go.
full like we're probably like I've gone like we're like overlapped. Like yeah, I'm on the Jordan Peterson train. I haven't watched a lot of the like most recent stuff, but
It's like we're in Interstellar and the two things are passing and
We're like, no,
they're waving at each other through the thing. That's us right now. Like,
dude, it really. Oh my God, I'm literally
crazy. But Peterson was the first one that put that in my head where somebody asked him, "Do you believe in God?" or something like that, and he said that it doesn't matter because we behave as if God is real. So if you believe God is real, I believe God is real. I believe in the Trinity, the Catholic Church. But whether, let's say you're an atheist, but you behave as if God is real. You behave in accordance with the Bible. You behave in accordance with the Catholic Church. In a sense, God is real. In that sense, God is real.
I can see where
in
they're
your
like
life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can see where he was coming from. I was just trying to understand. It's like, how can something be like objective in this kind of like outside of us observing it? Like there's this, or other way of like quantifying something as being like objectively true or objective morality, when humans argue all over. But at the same time, like you notice there is that like moral law that's like inscribed in our hearts that people tend to across most cultures always act in accordance with. I really got into reading like C.S. Lewis and stuff like that. So that helps me put like certain things together, to get, because I question a lot and I still question. I like, some days I feel so confident and like, have this like fire of like belief and faith and like feel so strongly. And other days, I find myself doubting things. But I've always.
SW, you still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
I think Ruby cut out. Shoot. Oh, hey, Ruby, you there? Ah, damn it. Ruby. Ruby froze.
Technical. Oh, here we go.
Wait, you're back.
Did I come back?
Yeah, now you're back. Hold on.
Oh, sorry. I have like the most like internet.
No.
I don't know why I like freeze all the time. Sorry
you're good.
about that.
You're good. You're totally good.
I was kind of like rambling on. I don't even know where I was going. I was like kind of jumping around.
You're fine. That's what we do on this show. We jump from topic to topic.
I think a lot of people are like this. They can vibe with that,
So I guess for the last maybe 10 minutes or so, I do have a hard stop at like 7:58. So maybe 10 minutes on this and then we can wrap up. But
yeah, we'll have to do another conversation because I'd love to dive deeper on like almost all these topics. So
this was good. So I'm going to share an image. When I share my screen, are you guys able to see it also?
I think I was
can.
yeah, because I was able to see the video you were playing. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to show this image that's going viral right now of this guy, the guy who had 2 million swipes on Tinder.
Oh
Um,
God.
Ruby, are you familiar with this or no?
No, but that's already it sounds probably
Okay,
like
so
sad or something.
no, it
Two
is.
million
I was
swipes.
joking with one of my buddies. You'd have to waterboard that out, or I don't even think you could waterboard that out of me.
You couldn't waterboard
Dude.
this out. You could not waterboard this out of me, man. This may not be real. That's what a lot of people are saying. This could be fake, but in a way, it ties back into the other thing. It is real though, because this is the experience of guys on the app. So even if the numbers
So
aren't,
yeah.
even if even if these aren't the exact numbers, it doesn't matter because this is functionally the life of a
And
lot
I
of
really
guys.
did like Jordan. I really did like your take on this. That
What's
he's
that?
not being unrealistic and thinks he's going to get Livy Dune. Like,
Exactly. Okay. So let's just jump into it from that angle. So Ruby, the gist of it is there's this
I
guy.
mean, I definitely for me, I think there's like a thing too. Women, I'm been a vegetarian since I was little, so I don't love the animal pictures, but like,
Well, some people
I
said that.
feel so
Some
it's like
people
on my
the
said,
fish
page, it
thing's
doesn't,
just been memed.
yeah, but okay, okay. So okay. Let me just set it up. What the number? Here are
right.
the numbers. We have 2 million swipes. Or wait, no. One, two, three, one. Wait, four, and then eight, four,
It's like hard
eight,
to read, but I
five,
think
zero.
20
So it's no, it's
million.
2 million, and then one, two, three, one. So it's two. Oh, it's worse. It's 20 million swipe. See, that's why people are saying that this isn't real, but it could be real if this guy was if a guy, maybe this isn't even the real guy. If a guy was just pumping money into the thing, he could have that many in 5 years,
He had to
possibly.
have
Wow.
a 500-mile radius.
Yeah, how would you even? Okay,
He must have been
but
scrolling the whole
but
country.
either way, let's just
There's a
say
way to, they have like you can pay to like scroll like the world. How sad. I mean, you
okay,
never
let's not
people
even
find
work with
love, but it's not great for everyone. I don't like online dating.
let's not even work with the exact numbers. Let's just say a guy has a ton of swipes, and for guys, this part is true. The majority of them will be right swipes rather than left swipes because guys are less picky than women. So the left number is rarely ever going to be higher unless he's like Christian Bale in American Psycho, looking like that. The left swipe number is never really going to be higher than the right swipe number. So he right swiped a lot of times, and based on these numbers, he got a 0.001% match rate. Okay. That and
This would break me. I can't. I don't know how
I
you'd even want these stats. I didn't
let's
like
just
online dating
go
though.
up by a factor of 100. Let's just say he got 100 times more than this is stating, and he actually matched 0.1% times. That is still proving our point. And out of that 0.1 matches that he got a significantly higher proportion of chats because obviously if you match with someone,
Do
you're
we
going to
know where
chat
he
with them.
lives?
We don't. We don't know anything about this
Because I
guy,
think
which leads me
that's
to
a
believe it's
very
fake.
hidden. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Cause I'm like, based on the picture, I mean, it kind of looks like maybe Pacific Northwest, but
Or
that's
Montana,
yeah.
PNW.
Yeah.
Because that's also, I mean, let's be real,
So,
the dating market's very different
right.
if you're out in the middle of nowhere.
So all I'm
True.
saying here is that even if these numbers aren't exact, the truth and the truth here is it's still accurate. The idea that men go on these dating apps, they swipe right a million times more or less, and they get a 0.1% match rate. Meanwhile, and we'll get back to actually, Ruby, if you want to see the tweet I had about this, SW appreciated it, so I'll share it really quick. About
I tried online dating for like a couple weeks, and I actually fell in love with my first date, and we dated for like 6 months, and then when we broke up last year, I was just like focusing more on like God, and I was like, I'm just gonna be celibate like for the near future and like long future potentially, just like.
So I'll just read you what I tweeted, and then we can go into what you think about this, and then from there we can wrap up. So I said, regarding this guy and the numbers we just looked at. I said, it's not even, quote, you're mad that women won't lower their standards. No, it's not the standards. It's not the standards that they have that are unreasonable. It's that, or no, I'm sorry. No, it's that the standards that they have are unreasonable. And social media has given them, women, an inflated sense of self-worth. Even just 10 years ago, this guy wouldn't have really had any problems in the dating market. Now, Emma, the overweight 3 out of 10, who you know this guy swiped right on because he's not an insane person who thinks he deserves to be with Livy Dunn, told him, meh, the attraction isn't there. You don't make enough, and I need a man that can handle me. She canceled, and this is just hypothetical, but you can see this. She canceled their second date because on the first, he mentioned an obscure movie he liked, and he got a little too excited, and she got the ick. Now, neither of them will procreate. Maybe he'll go to Thailand, and she'll become one of lower tier Chad's Wednesday night boredom rotation pieces, a fitting into her genes. And I think that
That's a very sad
accurate.
tale all
It is
around, you know, but it's realistic. I mean, it is realistic, and I'm not interested in online dating. I don't even really know how it plays out, but all my friends who do it, like a couple of them have gotten really lucky, you know, and just like met their person and settled down or whatever. But you know, yeah, a lot
I
of my
think it's
friends,
different
they
from
got
the
into
male to
like the
female
hookup culture and
perspective.
just misery. And it's like, yeah, you can be, you know, a very average looking girl and like, you
And
know,
your
you can get the
DMs,
hookup, but it's like no one's getting what they want. No one's getting real love or connection on either end of this, you know? It's like everyone's just chasing this false distraction.
but
And
women are getting something out of this. They're getting free dinners. They're getting dates. They're getting confirmation that they are attractive. They are getting capital. They are getting boosted. Their sexual
true,
market
yeah, I guess
value.
I mean, there's a lot of people who there's
All
women who just they have that grind set of like, I'm gonna get my bag, I'm gonna get my money. Fuck men, I hate men, like whatever. Maybe my dad wasn't around, so I don't trust men. So I'm just gonna get my like that is there are
right.
people like that. I don't, you know, I think most women aren't like that, but you know, I don't know
I
though. I'm
would
pretty
say
antisocial, honestly. So
I
I
would
don't even
say not,
know.
I think SW and I would say like 99.5% of women are like that. And the different thing,
Inflation.
hoflation,
Hopefully, it should.
hoflation,
I mean,
and
my friends online aren't like that, or like my friends in real life. I don't know, but I have a very odd, like, kind of eccentric, random.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with what we disagree on because I see your point. I don't think it's like a stupid, immoral, degenerate point. The common talking point, even from the most based people who analyze gender dynamics, the most base thing they would say is, well, both sides aren't getting what they want. SW and I would disagree. Women are absolutely getting what they want out of this thing. They are getting
I don't think so. They
they
want love. They don't
they're
want
me
dick and dinner. I mean,
do
unless
they
they're
is
the
that
broken
true?
people.
Well,
Is
I
And then
that
there's
think
the
true?
guys who
actually,
also
I
just
think
want to get pussy and then move on to the next pussy. And then
see,
there's degeneracy all
I
around, you know.
agree
But
and disagree.
yeah, I don't know.
It's funny enough. I agree and I disagree. I think they are getting women are actually getting love out of it because I think there's a lot more desperation amongst guys, and I think the idea that modern guys are all
But even
acting
that
like
can't
it's
be like a real
American
love.
Pie. Well, I think it is, or I mean, I think to an
If you're
extent it is.
desperate to just be with someone, I don't know. But I hide in my room most of the times. I don't even know if I'm even tapped into what the, you know, what that market is even like, you know. So I'm kind of just guessing based on my online experiences and my own friendships, but my friends are probably not representative of like most people,
Let me
honestly.
give you an example, Ruby. You could go onto Hinge right now and you could upload, in your opinion, the 3 ugliest pictures of yourself, of you looking in your mind fat or making an ugly face, you have a double chin, whatever you want. It literally anything you want. You could sit there slumped. It really wouldn't matter.
Yes,
You
people would
would
totally prefer
you
that, yeah.
would have 100 men in your messages saying, "Hey, sweetie, saw the picture, want to meet up tonight."
Dude, I know. Yeah.
Have it be a guy, and I don't
But
think
we
this is
don't like
some.
that. You think
But
women like that? We don't.
women,
I don't. I can only speak for
You
myself.
don't, but
I
then I
women
get
think
don't.
there's
uncomfortable with that kind of like too much of
I
that
think it more
attention.
levels, or I won't, maybe levels of playing fields are wrong, but I think a lot of women
don't
have
like attention.
I'll use the.
I don't know if women like
even though it's
attention from
mean,
men they're not
I'm
attracted
gonna use the
to.
number
They
scale,
view them
even though
like
it's mean.
scum often.
Yeah,
They're
what's the
very
number scale?
highly
SW.
I'm gonna use the number scale, even though it's mean. But
No, I'm
you
fine.
basically
I
have
don't.
fives. You have
I
fives
actually
and
love rating
sixes.
people too.
So you have the fives and sixes all think they're eights and nines. It's like the Asian girl on Twitter this week who was like, "Me and all my friends in San Francisco are nines," and she said that with like full sincerity. I think, but
People are
to go back to
delusional.
the point, but I think the apps and kind of the desperation has made life a lot easier for women who are fives and sixes and
Mids. Yeah.
even sevens, the mids. Yeah, I think that life is a lot easier for them, and they are like the true winners right now in society.
Right.
As
Oh,
far
The
as
in
mids.
society,
romantic.
100%. I actually agree with that. In dating, I just think everyone's miserable. Like male suicide, loneliness
There's some truth.
skyrocketing
There
times
is
a
some
million.
truth there.
Even women's suicide, women's substance abuse, that's skyrocketing. So
There
it's
is
like, but
absolutely a
women are
lot of
faring
truth.
better in all things considered. I
Right.
just, from my experience in dating, like I said, I'm celibate now. I'm over it. I just want to be focused on God. I'm like, so, that's just where I personally I'm content with that for the time being. Just focusing on my recovery too. Like I have way bigger fish to fry right now.
I think that's probably a good spot to end it. I need to jump off onto the interview I was telling you about.
I think we'll have to
Ruby.
continue this another time.
I would almost.
I
Absolutely.
felt like
I
we
so
were
enjoyed
really
this.
getting cooking.
Let's see how it does, and
I
maybe we
know,
can
I
make
know.
this like a. We'll always have our one-on-one show, SW. Maybe we can work Ruby in.
Yeah,
Maybe
monthly show.
the monthly show with Ruby to see
Yeah, that'd
what's
be super
going on.
fun.
So,
Yeah, I love that. You guys, I really like your takes and it's making me think. And yeah, no, I really enjoyed this, so I'm glad we did it. And
yeah.
good luck with your interviews debate.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm a big
And
Richard
congrats again on
Spencer.
the beautiful baby
Thank
and
you.
being in a much better spot in your life too.
Oh yeah,
Both of us, I can tell we're just both happier,
absolutely. I can tell it
and
with you
in better
too.
spots.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the end. Can find me on Twitter, Jordan B Videos. The O in videos is a zero, not an O. YouTube.com, Jordan B Videos, normally spelled Videos. SW is on Twitter as Snowmed34, SNOW Med MED 34, and Ruby is what you see on the bottom left of her avatar, Ruby Spacek, on both Twitter and YouTube, right?
Yeah, I tried to use the same name
I
everywhere,
wish
so
I got banned once, so I had to switch it up. But
oh god.
no, it was a great convo. Ruby, thanks for joining us. We'll do it again sometime in SW. Maybe we try to, if we can get a wild hair, we can do a Saturday show also and get back on track.
That we'll talk.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
talk.
talk.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
figure
definitely
it.
talk. But
Schedules out.
I really enjoyed this, and
Yeah.
it was really nice to interact with you guys.
Well, thanks for catching up with us, Ruby, and until next time, guys, we will see y'all again later.
Take
Yeah,
care.
we'll be in touch.
All right.
Bye.
Later.